3 years ago, right before the spring festival, my fiancé shoved a piece of paper into my hands. Song, si. Wait for me, for 3 years. I'll marry you in 3 years. Then, dragging her guy bestie's suitcase, she walked through security, without looking back. The moment her plane took off, I folded that agreement into a paper airplane. 3 years later, she's back. I scrolled through my contacts, but couldn't find her number. Oh, right. Deleted it ages ago. 3 years ago. Beijing Capital Airport, Terminal 3. New Year's Eve. Surrounded by people rushing home with New Year's goodies. The air smelled like cheap chocolatey and instant noodles. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, clutching an A4 paper with 6 lines of text on it. The core message, translated into human: be a good boy, wait at home. Don't mess around. The princess will be back to claim you in 3 years. Lin Nianchu stood in front of me. Her eyes were red, her nose was red, and her makeup was half ruined. She reached out and tugged at my sleeve. Her voice choked with tears. Song Si, say something. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. 3 meters behind her, Zhou Zeyuan was holding 2 suitcases. He shot me a look that said, "Sorry, bro, but my hands are tied." I'll never forget that look for the rest of my life. Not because it was apologetic, but because he couldn't hide that smug smirk. I didn't notice it at the time. Was I just a massive simp? My eyes were only focused on the crying, fragile girl standing right in front of me. I finally spoke. My voice was dry. "Nianchu, are you really sure about this?" She nodded firmly. "I'm sure. Going to London is for our future." Zeyuan is right. You're way too deep in your comfort zone. I'm going out to build my career. When I come back, we'll be together. I frowned and cut her off. Zhou Zeyuan said that. She quickly tried to explain. His analysis makes perfect sense. My current platform is just too small. And your job is. She didn't finish. But I understood. Translated into human. You, a corporate wage slave, making $100 a month, aren't enough to cure my anxiety right now. I nodded, and just said one word, "Fine." Her tears immediately smashed onto the terminal floor. "Then you'll wait for me?" I calmly replied. "Okay." She stood on her tiptoes and kissed my cheek. Then she turned and walked toward the security checkpoint. Zhou Zeyuan immediately stepped up to roll her suitcase. Their silhouettes walked side by side, disappearing into the security channel. I stood frozen in place. I looked down at the A4 paper in my hand. Wait for you for 3 years. I folded the paper in half, then in half again. Made a pointy tip, pressed down the wings. A crooked little paper airplane. I tossed it right at the window. It carved an arc through the air, hit the glass, and dropped to the floor. A janitor nearby gave me a look, bent over, picked it up, and tossed it into the trash. When I finally walked out of the airport, I bought myself a hot Americano. The freezing Beijing winter wind slapped my face, so cold it made me gasp. I took a sip of the coffee, so bitter it numbed the back of my tongue. It was great, kept me wide awake. 3 years later, New Year's Eve, I'm sitting by the window on the 38th floor of C1 Tech, flipping through a Q4 financial report. Outside is the entire CBD skyline. The traffic below lights up into 2 glowing ribbons. One warm yellow, one cold white. My phone rang. It was Zhao Kuo calling. I picked up all. Zhao Kuo's voice blasted through. "CEO Song," I replied coldly. "Speak normal." He instantly dropped the act and yelled excitedly, "Bro C, huge news! Your ex-fiancé is back in the country." The hand holding my coffee paused for a second. I asked back, "Who?" Zhao Kuo lost his mind on the other end. "Lin Nianchu, your ex, the one at the airport 3 years ago. The one you stood waiting 2 hours at the airport for." I gave a flat, "Oh." Zhao Kuo couldn't believe it. "What do you mean, oh? She's your ex-fiancé." I feigned confusion and asked, "Did I really stand at the airport for 2 hours?" There was a 3-second silence on the line. Zhao Kuo asked in disbelief, "Bro sis, don't tell me you actually forgot." I put down my coffee and thought hard. Lin Nianchu, the name does sound familiar. I tried my best to remember, and tentatively asked, "Is she the tall one with long hair?" Zhao Kuo roasted me, speechless. "You literally just described half the female population in China." I cut him off. "Hold on." I opened my phone's photo album. Scrolled back. 3 years worth of photos is a lot. It was all contract, product launches, team building, BBQs, and Zhao Kuo's dark history of getting drunk and singing to a streetlight. I said, sounding a bit unsure. I think I deleted all her photos. Zhao Kuo's volume spiked. You even deleted her photos. I casually made up an excuse. Probably didn't back them up when I switched phones. Zhao Kuo, on the other end of the line, let out a deep, meaningful sigh. Bro, see, you didn't just cure your simp disease. You completely hard reset your brain. I ignored him, opened WeChat and searched Lin, accountant Lin, lawyer Lin, reporter Lin, boss Lin, no Lin Nianchu. I added in a flat tone. I deleted her on WeChat too. Zhao Kuo's voice was full of suspicion. I'm starting to seriously doubt that you actually stood in that airport for 2 hours 3 years ago. Included in previous line context for flow. I changed the subject. How do you know she's back? Zhao Kuo instantly perked up. Liu Yang told me. She posted it on her moments. He even said in the group chat that he wants you to pick her up from the airport. I asked, knowing the answer, pick up. Pick up who? He replied like it was obvious. Her, duh. She told you to wait 3 years and look, 3 years are up. She kept her promise and came back. I glanced at the mountain of paperwork on my desk, then at tomorrow's schedule on my phone. 3 meetings and an investor dinner. I gave a clean rejection. Not going. Zhao Kuo seemed to expect this. All right, I knew you'd say that. But what if she comes looking for you? I fired back. Does she even know where I am? He reminded me. You're the CEO of Siyuan Tech now. Bro, see. Your company's billboards are plastered across the 3rd ring road. 12 of them. Do you really think she can't find you? That is a valid point. I thought about it and said easily, if she finds me, she finds me. Meeting up once is whatever. Zhao Kuo pressed. How do you plan on meeting her? My answer was bulletproof. Normally, I'll be polite. We are acquaintances after all. Zhao Kuo fell silent for another moment. Then he spoke, faintly. Bro, see. I hummed, yeah. He sighed. The word acquaintance is the coldest word I've ever heard in my life. Even colder than we're not a good match. I hung up. Honestly, I didn't feel anything special. No hate, no resentment, no expectations. It's like when you're in elementary school and you lose your absolute favorite eraser. You cry over it for half the day. But if someone tells you years later that they found your eraser, your first reaction is just, huh? I had an eraser? New Year's Eve. Beijing Capital Airport, Terminal 3. Lin Yanchu dragged her suitcase out of the arrivals gate. She subconsciously scanned the crowd of people waiting. These were all from the footage Zhao Kuo had someone secretly record. He had actually planted an informant at the airport. His reasoning. I have to document this historical moment for Bro CA. I had rejected the idea without a second thought. But he confidently argued back. What if you want to write an autobiography later? I was too lazy to argue with him. In the surveillance video, Lin Nianchu looked noticeably thinner. Her chin was sharper. Her hair was shorter than 3 years ago. She was wearing a camel-colored coat. Standing in the crowd for a long time, she held up her phone. The screen showed my number from 3 years ago. The number you have dialed is out of service. She dialed it 3 times. Heard the same automated voice 3 times. Zhou Zeyuan was pushing a luggage cart right behind her, stacked with 4 suitcases. His hair had thinned out a bit. He looked completely washed up and dingy. The cuffs of his puffer jacket were frayed. 3 years ago, when he helped Lin Nianchu with her luggage, he was wearing a brand new trench coat. Zhou Zeyuan leaned in. He suggested softly, maybe he changed his number. How about we grab a cab back first? Lin Nianchu stubbornly shook her head. I'll wait a little longer. She waited another 20 minutes. The crowd waiting at arrivals gradually dispersed. The lights at the arrival gate were still on, but the sea of people had receded into just scattered travelers and sketchy illegal cabbies hustling for rides. Nobody came to pick her up. That afternoon, I was eating a takeout New Year's Eve dinner at the office. Zhao Kuo insisted on dragging me and a few core team members into having a hustler's New Year's Eve dinner, which was literally just 12 orders of braised chicken and rice. We sat around the conference table and Adia. Zhao Kuo was gnawing on a chicken drumstick, looking at the real-time updates on his phone. He mumbled, Bro, Sai. She went to your old apartment this afternoon. I was slightly confused. Which old apartment? He reminded me, the one in Heilongguan. The one you used to rent. My chopsticks paused. Heilongguan. I'd almost forgotten what that place even looked like. Zhao Kuo continued his report. The family living there now answered the door. The middle-aged guy thought she was a door-to-door salesperson. Almost called the cop. I picked up a piece of chicken and asked flatly. And then, she sat at the complex gate for half an hour. I didn't say a word. Just kept eating my food. Zhao Kuo glared at me. You don't feel bad for her. I swallowed the food in my mouth and calmly answered. I feel bad for that middle-aged guy, having to deal with strangers knocking on his door on New Year's Eve. Zhao Kuo rolled his eyes. Then he suddenly remembered something. He whipped out his phone, scrolled a bit, and shoved the screen in my face, excitedly saying, "Oh, right. Look at this." It was a photo of Lin Nianchu, standing on the sidewalk next to the Third Ring Road. Behind her was a massive LED billboard. The billboard read, Xiwan Tech, making connections smarter. In the bottom right corner was a profile shot of me, suited up, arms crossed over my chest, with a line of small text below, Founder and CEO, Song Ce. She was standing directly beneath the billboard, looking up at it, looking absolutely stunned. I asked with amusement, how long did she stare at this sign? Zhao Kuo replied, word is she stood there for 5 minutes, without moving. And then Zhou Zaiwan came over and dragged her away. Seems like Zhou Zaiwan saw it too. Zhao Kuo zoomed in on the photo, pointing at Zhou Zaiwan's expression in the corner, gloating. Look at his face. Looks like he just swallowed expired bitter melon. Indeed, even through a low-res surveillance screenshot, you could tell Zhou Zaiwan's entire face was sagging. I casually asked, how did he do abroad these 3 years? Zhao Kuo clearly had done his homework. Visa expired, got asked to leave, worked as a delivery rider in London for 2 years. 3rd year he joined some sketchy startup, went bankrupt in 3 months. Even his flight ticket back was paid for by Lin Nianchu. I nodded, shoved the last bite of rice into my mouth. What did he say to Nianchu back then again? Zhao Kuo mimicked him. You're not mature and stable enough. Nianchu needs to go out and broaden her horizons. She has no future with you. I chuckled. Your intel is pretty solid. He smugly raised an eyebrow. You know it. Forgot I always hated that guy's guts back then. And you called me petty. I did say that. Back then, Zhao Kuo told me Zhou Zaiwan was full of red flags. And I even defended him. They're childhood friends. Pure friendship. Thinking of this, I laughed. Thank God being a simp doesn't leave permanent brain damage. Zhao Kuo gave me a, I knew you weren't over her look. Leaned over and asked, Bro C. You smiled? You actually smiled. I shook my head. I'm laughing at myself. He pressed. Laughing at yourself for what? I answered honestly, for being a moron 3 years ago. Zhao Kuo's expression shifted from gossipy to a weird sense of relief. He finished his last piece of chicken, clapped his hands and said, all right, enough reminiscing. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. What's the plan? I answered, sleep. He switched to a more practical question. No, I mean, what if she comes looking for you? What are you gonna do? I repeated my game plan. Like I said, meeting up is fine. I'll keep it polite. Zhao Kuo still wasn't letting it go. Don't you want to know why she came back? I replied, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Didn't she tell me to wait 3 years? 3 years are up. Zhao Kuo stared at me for 5 seconds, and finally reached a conclusion. Song says, you really don't give a damn anymore. Leaning back in my chair, looking at the city lights outside, I stopped caring the second that plane took off. Zhao Kuo gasped. Are you even human? I half joked back. Thanks for asking. Nope. On the 3rd day of the new year, Liu Yang added me in the alumni group chat. Song Ce Nianchu wants to reach out. Drop your contact info. I just replied with one word, okay, and sent my current phone number over. The group chat instantly blew up. Holy shit, Song Ce is alive. CEO Song, too busy running an empire, but still checks the group. Are you guys getting back together? I didn't reply again. Half an hour later, an unknown number called. I picked up and calmly said, hello. The other end was silent for 2 seconds. Then came a slightly tight voice. Song C, I confirmed. Hi. It went quiet again. She introduced herself. It's me, Nianchu, I replied politely. Long time no see. Her voice held a trace of hesitation. Long time no see. She continued. I'm back. I calmly indicated I knew. Yeah, heard about that. She asked tentatively. Did you move? I explained. Moved. The lease in Hulalongwan expired. You changed your number too. Changed it. Using the company one, your company. Siwan Tech. Yeah. The other end fell silent again. A very long silence. I almost thought the call dropped. Song C, how did you? Before she could finish, I cut her off directly. Do you want to meet up and talk? My rule for phone calls is to avoid chatting if possible. Some things are just more efficient face to face. It's a habit I've built over these 3 years. Her voice sped up a beat. I could tell she was controlling her breathing. Okay. I sent her the company address. Come here. I'll be around these next 2 days. She was a bit surprised at your company. I kept it brief. It's convenient. Hung up. I completely tossed the matter to the back of my mind and went back to tweaking a pitch deck for investors. On the 5th day of the new year, she showed up. Zhao Kuo stormed into my office 10 minutes early. The level of excitement on his face was no less than finding out a competitor was faking their metrics. She's here. She's here. She's here. In the first floor lobby, I shot him a look, totally unfazed. What are you so hyped for? He rubbed his hands together, full of anticipation. Bro, this is 100 times better than a TV drama. Your ex-fiancé coming to your company to look for you. What kind of god-tier messy drama is this? I have to be there to witness it. I outright rejected him. No need. Get back to work. He acted shamelessly. My job is to accompany you to meetings. Meeting her doesn't count as a meeting. It doesn't count. Then I'll just sit on the side and audit. I won't speak. No. Let me at least record the audio. I roared, out of patience. Get out. He got out, but I knew he definitely didn't go far. The front desk called on the intercom, sounding hesitant. Chairman Song, Ms. Lin is here to see you. She says she's your friend. The receptionist's pause was very interesting. The word friend was spoken very lightly, clearly weighing her words. I ordered, send her up. 38th floor. 5 minutes later, the elevator doors opened. When Lin Nianchu walked out, I was standing at the end of the executive corridor. From 20 meters away, I saw her. 3 years had left their mark on her. Thinner, cheekbones a bit higher, eye sockets a bit deeper, but her features hadn't changed. Still a face I couldn't tear my eyes away from back then. Except, that can't tear my eyes away feeling was gone. It was like looking at a painting. Pretty but just pretty. She was looking at me too. Her steps slowed down until she finally stopped, standing in the middle of the hallway, staring at me for a long time, as if she couldn't believe it. Song Sij. I nodded. Yeah. She muttered to herself. You've changed so much. I brushed it off casually, have I? Probably. Just working out. That wasn't me being humble. 3 years ago, I was 183 cm and 140 pounds. Skinny, wore thick black-rimmed glasses. Walking down the street, I was the type nobody would look twice at ET. Now I'm 165 pounds. Shoulders, a whole size broader. Switched to glasses for contacts. Not to look handsome, but because the pressure in the first year of the startup was insane. Insomnia every single night. Zhao Kuo dragged me to pump iron. Kept lifting until I got addicted to IT. I pushed open the office door. And may a please gesture. Come in and have a seat. After she walked in, the very first thing she did was stop in front of the massive floor-to-ceiling window. The view from the 38th floor overlooks half the city. The sunset was burning the CBD's glass facades into a breathtaking blaze of red. She stood there, her shoulders tense and tight. I broke the silence and asked, coffee or tea? She answered softly, either is fine. I made the call. Americano it is. Then, I pressed the intercom on my desk. Before I could even speak, Zhao Kuo's voice jumped out of it. CEO Song, 2 Americanos. Coming right up. I killed the intercom. Took a deep breath. This guy is 100% eavesdropping at the door. Hit that subscribe button if you have a nosy bestie like Zhao Kuo. Lin Nianchu sat down on the sofa, hands resting on her knees, her fingers interlacing nervously as she looked around. She started, her tone complex. This office of yours is huge. I told the truth. It's rented. Commercial building in the CBD. Nothing special. She asked again. Siwantek, did you pick the name? Yeah? CI is your name. Right. She didn't ask what Yuan meant. Actually, Zhao Kuo came up with it. He set out with the old, in with the new, and soared to great heights. Taking CI and Yuan. I thought it was decent, so I used it. It has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. The coffee arrived. The person delivering it was Zhao Kuo himself, holding a tray, smiling like a damn hotel manager. CEO Song. Your coffee? Miss Lin, your coffee. Please enjoy. Then he just stood there, not leaving. I stared at him, asked coldly, do you need something else? He piled on a fake smile. Nope. Just wanted to make sure if you two needed anything else. I ordered, enunciating every word. No, we do not. Get out. Close the door. He backed out, just as the door was 1 centimeter from closing. I saw him stick a hand through the crack, giving me a massive thumbs up. I decided right then to dock half his KPI bonus. Lin Nianshu held her coffee mug without drinking. She finally gathered the courage to look up at Song Sij. When I left 3 years ago, you gave me an agreement. Her eyes lit up. You remember? I mercilessly shattered her fantasy. Zhao Kuo reminded me. The very second I said it, the light in her eyes extinguished. But she quickly pulled it back, pressed her lips together. She took a deep breath and asked the most crucial question. Do you still have that agreement? I thought about it. Paper airplane, trash can, janitor, didn't keep it. Her fingers tightened around her mug, her knuckles turning stark white. Threw it away? I didn't mention folding it into a paper airplane. No need. That detail was a little too aggressive, and I had no intention of attacking her, just telling the truth. Song Se. She put down her mug and looked up at me. Her eyes were red, but she didn't cry. Her jaw was tense. Are you blaming me for not? Then why didn't you look for me? 3 years, and you didn't send a single message. You told me to wait. You didn't tell me to look for you. After I said that, the office was dead silent for about 10 seconds. Then my phone rang. A line of text flashed on the screen. Investors from Silicon Valley confirmed. Video conference at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Excuse me. I stood up. I have some work to handle. She stared blankly at me, watching me pick up my phone to reply. I read that expression perfectly. It wasn't sadness. It was confusion. It was the confusion of, I thought I was your whole world. But it turns out, in your world, there isn't even a place for me anymore. From outside the door came Zhao Kuo's lowered voice, which completely failed at being quiet. Holy shit. Silicon Valley confirmed? I yelled toward the door. Are you seriously eavesdropping? The space outside the door instantly went quiet. 2 seconds later, a flurry of sneaky footsteps scurried away. Lin Nianshu stood up. I'll get going then. She walked to the door, put her hand on the handle but didn't push. Song Si. Yeah? That agreement. Did you really forget about it? I looked at her back and didn't answer. I didn't forget it. I threw it away. Intentionally. The 7th day of the new year. The first official day back at work. During the morning meeting, I did an hour-and-a-half presentation on Kuwainwei planning. After the meeting adjourned, Zhao Kuo slapped a hot soy milk on my desk. Bro, Zhao Zeyuan is looking for you. I opened the soy milk straw without looking up. Hua. Zhou Zeyuan. Xiao Kuo enunciated every syllable. The guy who helped your ex-fiancée carry her luggage back then. Oh, luggage bro. Zhao Kuo looked speechless. That nickname, if he heard it, he'd literally drop dead on the spot. What does he want with me? Said he wants to discuss a project collaboration. Used Liu Yang as a middleman. Said you guys used to know each other. Wants to talk face to face. I took a sip of soy milk. Thought for 3 seconds. Sure. Set it up for tomorrow afternoon at the cafe downstairs. You're actually gonna meet him. Zhao Kuo's eyes instantly lit up. Might as well. I know Zhao Kuo's expressions too well. He was already setting up a stage in his head, getting the popcorn ready, adjusting the spotlight, just waiting for a good show. Then you're not going. I'll just sit nearby, drink coffee and not say a word. Last time you said you wouldn't say a word. You ended up carrying a tray in and giving me a thumbs up. But my enthusiasm for work, KPI deduction. Only then did Zhao Kuo reluctantly agree. Fine. The next day at 2 p.m., cafe downstairs. Zhao Ziyuan looked more than 3 years older than I remembered. He used to be lean and fit, loved wearing fitted shirts. Hair was always immaculately styled with wax. How he looked at the airport 3 years ago. I still have a vague memory of it. Full of himself, standing next to Lin Nianchu, radiating "I'm taking her to see a bigger world" energy. But the guy sitting across from me now, his hairline had receded by 2 fingers. He had a ring of unkempt stubble on his chin. His shirt collar was washed out and yellowing, but his eyes were still bright. That specific kind of bright. The kind I've seen in many people who come to pitch me projects. It's a "you have money, I have an idea, let's get rich together" kind of bright. Song si, long time no see. He stood up and reached out his hand. I shook it briefly. Normal grip strength. His palms were a bit sweaty. "Have a seat. You've changed so much, man." Seriously, I completely didn't expect this back then. As soon as he sat down, he started up, talking incredibly fast, wearing a completely forced, try-hard smile. "Yay. Siwan Tech is amazing. For real. I even saw the news reports abroad. Thanks." The small talk ended at the 3-minute mark. He started pitching his project, a cross-border e-commerce platform based on blockchain.wit. If you want to see Song say shut him down, drop a comment below. He used a ton of English acronyms, spitting everywhere as he talked. His pitch deck was over 60 pages long. Every single slide had at least 3 gradient colors. I listened quietly to the end. It took 12 minutes. I looked up at him. Done. What do you think? In your customer acquisition model, your CAC calculation is missing 2 key variables: logistics, shrinkage, and exchange rate fluctuations. His smile froze. Your supply chain assumptions are built on having a warehouse in London. But you don't actually have a London warehouse, do you? He swallowed hard. The market size data on page 37 cites a report from 2019. The numbers are outdated. Your competitor analysis on page 42 completely missed the top 2 companies in the industry. Your revenue forecast on page 58. Okay, stop. He raised his hand. His smile had completely collapsed. So you're saying no? It's not a no. It's that you're way off the mark. Then can you do a seed round investment? It doesn't have to be a lot, Ziyuan. I cut him off. Do you have a team? I'm putting one together. Do you have a technical co-founder? Still looking. Have you done any market validation? That's the next step. Then what do you actually have right now? He opened his mouth, then closed it. The background music in the cafe switched from jazz to light instrumental. It was so quiet, I could hear the collar of his yellowed shirt rubbing against his skin when he swallowed. Sorry. I picked up my coffee and took a sip. I was a bit blunt. It's fine. He forced a twitch of his lips. If you really want to do this, you should get an MVP running first. We can talk when you have data. MVP is minimum viable product. A flash of bewilderment crossed his face for a second, and I suddenly realized something. 3 years ago, this guy was acting like a big shot, telling Lin Nianchu, Song Shi isn't mature and stable enough. You have no future with him. 3 years later, he doesn't even know what an MVP is. Ironic, isn't it? No, not ironic at all, because I didn't even feel he was worthy enough for me to find it ironic. He's just an ordinary guy, someone with bad luck, not enough skills, but too much bitter ambition. I didn't hate him. I didn't look down on him either. I just found him boring. Oh, right. He suddenly turned back before leaving. Nianshu contacted you, right? Yeah. How are things between you guys? What do you mean? Like, are you planning on getting back together? When he asked that, his eyes flickered. That flicker was identical to the smirk he couldn't hide at the airport 3 years ago. Exactly the same. I saw it very clearly. This time, I saw it crystal clear. No, I stood up, buttoned my suit jacket. She's her, I'm me. It ended 3 years ago. His shoulders relaxed slightly, a very subtle release of tension. If I hadn't spent the last 3 years seeing so many micro-expressions at the negotiating table, I wouldn't have noticed him breathing a sigh of relief. Because me saying no in his world, I'm not getting back with her, means Lin Nianchu is still single and available. I picked up my briefcase and headed out. Stopped when I walked past him. Ziyuan. Yeah? I suggest you completely redo that pitch deck. The muscles in his face twitched. I walked out of the cafe and nearly bumped into Zhao Kuo at the door. This guy was wearing sunglasses, wrapped in a scarf, squatting by the planter near the entrance, pretending to look at his phone. Did he come or not? He took off his sunglasses, grinned. Bro sis, that part where you said, "What do you actually have right now?" Absolutely savage. I recorded it. You recorded it for the bros to learn from. Delete it. All right, I'll delete it. He shoved his phone into his pocket. I knew he wouldn't delete it. On the 10th of the new year, Lin Nianshu contacted me again, asked to meet at a Japanese restaurant. Her voice came through the phone. The one we used to go to all the time. I thought for a long time, but couldn't remember. Zhao Kuo reported from beside me. There's a sushi place in Choyang district. According to your expense records from 3 years ago, okay, I got it. When I arrived, I realized I actually had been to this place. The sign out front hadn't changed. The wooden sliding door was still the same. There was a handwritten menu wall right inside on the left. It's just that I really felt absolutely nothing for this place anymore. Felt the same as if it was my first time here. Lin Nianshu was already there, sitting in a corner booth, 2 glasses of sake in front of her. She had changed her outfit, hair tied back in a low ponytail. You're here. She looked up and squeezed out a smile. Yeah, I sat down. I ordered the salmon you used to love. No thanks, I don't really eat sashimi anymore. Her hand holding the sake stopped in mid-air. Since when did you stop eating it? First year of the startup. My stomach gave me problems, so I just quit. She slowly put down her glass, traced the rim with her finger. These past 3 years you've spent alone. Did you date anyone else? I had 2. Neither lasted long. Her fingers stopped. When I said that, I didn't have any intention of showing off or triggering her, just answering a normal question. But I could see her fingertips trembling slightly. Nianshu, whatever you want to talk about, just say it. She took a deep breath, looked up at me. Her eyes were red, but she was holding it together. Songshi, the agreement from 3 years ago, I was serious. I said, wait for me for 3 years. Marry you in 3 years. And I did it. I'm back. I put my chopsticks down. You're back, yeah? And then, she froze. And then, those 2 words weren't malicious. They weren't cold. It was a genuine question. Just like if someone told you they won $5 on a scratch-off. Your normal reaction would be, and then, Songshi, you aren't waiting for me anymore. Nianshu, I looked into her eyes. I never waited. Her tears fell, silently, drop by drop hitting the wooden table next to her sake, leaving dark, wet spots. I didn't offer her a tissue. Not because I'm cold-blooded, but because I knew giving her a tissue would send the wrong signal. I enunciated every word clearly. From the moment that plane took off, I knew this was over. Not because you left, but because, when you left, the person standing next to you was Zhao Zaiwan. Her shoulders violently jerked. What do you mean? You going abroad? Fine. You wanting to broaden your horizons? Fine. You telling me to wait 3 years? Also fine. But when you left, the person dragging your suitcase wasn't your parents, wasn't your best friend. It was a guy who was constantly whispering in your ear, telling you your boyfriend wasn't good enough for you. Sayuan isn't, whether he is or not, you know better than I do. She stopped talking. The tears kept flowing, but her mouth was shut tight. I stood up, scanned the QR code on my phone to pay the bill. My treat today. Take care. Right as I walked to the door, she called out from behind me, Song Sij. I looked back. She sat in the booth, makeup completely ruined. The light stretched her shadow out long across the floor. You never used to be like this. Yeah? I nodded. The old Song Si was a complete idiot, wasn't he? I pushed the door open. The cold wind hit my face. My phone screen lit up. A wee chat from Zhao Kuo. How'd it go? Did she cry? I replied with 3 words. Stop asking. He sent a crying emoji. With the caption, I bet she cried. I turned off my phone. Hailed a car back to the office. Make sure you hit that like button if you're hooked. When the car passed by that Japanese restaurant, I glanced out the window. Through the crack in the sliding door, I could see Lin Nianshu still sitting in the same spot, her face buried in her hands. I looked away and stared at the road ahead. 3 years ago at the airport, I stood for 2 hours watching her plane take off. Today, I didn't even want to glance back once. People really can change. It's not that I turned cold. It's that space inside me is genuinely empty now. On the 15th of the new year, the Lantern Festival, two things happened. Thing 1. Zhao Kuo secretly set up a blind date for me. He told me it was a friend's dinner. When I got there were only 3 people at the round table. Mei, Zhao Kuo, and a short-haired girl with light makeup. Bro C, this is Su Yi, my college classmate, currently an attending dentist at a top-tier hospital. Zhao Kuo's intro was so smooth, he must have rehearsed it 30 times. Su Yi gave me a nod. Zhao Kuo told me this was a co-worker dinner. Only realized it was just us 3 when I got here. If it's awkward, we can just treat it like a normal meal. I glanced at Zhao Kuo. He was pretending to read the menu. Tips of his ears, bright red. I answered honestly, a normal meal sounds good to me. And the meal really was just normal. Su Yi is a straight shooter, doesn't beat around the bush. When we talk, she'd straight up say, this topic is boring. Change the subject. That kind of direct personality. Save me a lot of social battery. You startup guys don't sleep much, do you? She picked up a piece of braised pork. Pretty much. If your teeth act up, hit me up. I'll give you the friends and family discount. Thanks. Zhao Kuo was winking at me like crazy on the side. I ignored him. Thing 2. Happened halfway through the meal. The restaurant door pushed open. Lin Nianchu stood at the entrance. Behind her was Zhou Zaiwan. This was no coincidence. Zhao Kuo looked into it later. Zhou Zaiwan found out from Liu Yang that I was eating at this restaurant tonight, and intentionally brought Lin Nianchu here. Lin Nianchu saw me the second she walked in, and then her gaze shifted to Su Yi, sitting across from me. That split-second change in expression was fascinating. First she froze, then her lips tightened, then she turned to leave. Zhou Zaiwan grabbed her hair. Since we bumped into them, might as well say here. His voice wasn't loud, but it was crystal clear in the quiet restaurant. Zhao Kuo's chopsticks froze in mid-air, eyes wide open, looking exactly like he was watching the curtain rise on a blockbuster. Su Yi, totally clueless, kept her head down, eating her pork. Song Si, Zhou Zaiwan walked over. His smile looked a bit more natural than at the cafe. We meet again. Yeah, his eyes drifted to Su Yi. Zhao Kuo suddenly spoke up. This is CEO Song's friend. I cut him off. Yeah, a friend. Zhao Kuo quickly corrected himself. Su Yi looked up at Zhou Zaiwan, then looked at Lin Nianchu. She read the room in 1 second, looked back down and kept eating. This woman's emotional intelligence was so high I wanted to clap for her. You guys here to eat too? Grab a seat. Zhao Kuo enthusiastically pulled up 2 chairs. I shot him a look. Are you serious? He winked at me. Chill. This is gonna be good. Lin Nianchu sat down, but her whole body was rigid, like a spring ready to pop off the chair. Her eyes kept darting between me and Su Yi, biting her lip till it was white. But she didn't ask a single question. Zhou Zaiwan, on the other hand, acted like we were old buddies. Sat right down and started yapping. Song Si. I went back and revised that project deck we talked about. Take a look when you have time. Email it. Sure. Oh right, Nianchu is job hunting right now. Is your company hiring? Company hiring? Goes through the HR channel. Zhao Kuo was trying so hard not to laugh next to me, holding a piece of bok choy with his chopsticks. His hand was literally shaking. Zhou Zaiwan's mouth twitched, but he kept up the fake smile. Makes sense. So, what does your friend here do? He looked at Su Yi. Su Yi didn't even lift her head. I pulled teeth. Zhao Kuo finally couldn't hold it in. Let out a peef, and a grain of rice shot out, landing dead center on Zhou Zaiwan's cup. My bad. Zhao Kuo grabbed a napkin to wipe it off, but just kept smearing it more into Zhou Zaiwan's clothes. It was absolute chaos for a second. Lin Nianchu didn't say a single word the entire time, her hands resting on her knees, her fingernails quietly scraping against her denim jeans, leaving silent little arcs, one after another. After we finished eating, I went to pay the bill. When I got back, I saw Su Yi and Lin Nianchu sitting face to face. Su Yi was drinking water. Lin Nianchu was watching her drink water. How long have you two been together? Lin Nianchu finally spoke. Her voice was very soft. Su Yi put down her glass. Today's the first time we've met. Lin Nianchu's face went blank for a second. Really? Su Yi grabbed her bag and stood up. When she passed by me, she whispered, "That ex of yours still really cares about you." I didn't reply. "But honestly, you seem like an okay guy. Add me on WeChat later." "Sure." She left. Zhao Kuo watched her walk away, then looked at me with absolute pain in his eyes. "Bro, CI, when you say sure, can you put a little emotion into it? An attending physician at a top hospital literally just asked for your WeChat. Can you at least act a little enthusiastic about it?" I was very enthusiastic. The last time I willingly added someone on WeChat was 2 years ago. Zhao Kuo's face screamed hopeless cause in big bold letters. Lin Nianchu and Zhou Ziyuan left too. As they walked out, Zhou Ziyuan put his hand on Lin Nianchu's shoulder, muttering something to her. Lin Nianchu shoved his hand away. It was a really hard shove. Zhou Ziyuan's hand bounced off, hovering frozen in the air for a second. Zhao Kuo stood by the window and watched the whole thing. "Turn, look at me, bro, see. Yeah, that luggage, bro. Him putting his arm around your ex-fiancée. You saw that, right?" "I saw it. What do you think he's playing at?" "You really don't know what he's playing at." Zhao Kuo shoved his hands in his pockets, sucked his teeth. 3 years ago he said you weren't good enough for her, tricked her into moving abroad, fails spectacularly abroad for 3 years, relies on her paying for his flight back. Now he sees you've made it big, so he pushes her to you to talk business. If you and Nianchu get back together, he cashes in on the connection. If you don't, he swoops in on her himself. Zhao Kuo slapped his thigh. "I always said that guy was absolute trash. Bro C must have seen through him ages ago. Didn't need to. Knew it at the airport 3 years ago. Then why didn't you?" "I was a simp back then." "When you're a simp, everyone looks like a good person." Zhao Kuo's expression changed from angry to a kind of second-hand heartbreak. "Bro, stop trying to make me cry. Let's go back to the office. Got another investor to meet tomorrow." "You're not gonna do anything about that Zhao guy." I pulled open the car door and got into the driver's seat. "No need." "Why not?" "Because he'll self-destruct. You don't need to push people like him. They'll jump into the pit all on their own." Zhao Kuo got into the passenger seat, started scrolling on his phone before he even buckled his seatbelt. "Bro, see, guess what? Zhou Ziyuan just posted a WeChat moment." He handed his phone over. The screen showed a selfie. The background was the restaurant we just ate at. The caption read, "Dinner with old friend Song, Sisht. Discuss directions for some new project. Looking forward to future collaborations." I looked at it for 2 seconds and handed the phone back. "He's using you as social proof for his network." There was a laugh in Zhao Kuo's voice. "Let him. You're really not gonna do anything." "Nope. Let the bullets fly for a bit." The 20th of the first lunar month, an alumni meetup. Liu Yang organized it. Said it had been too long since we all hung out. Called up a dozen people and booked a massive KTV room. I originally wasn't going to go. Zhao Kuo pushed me. "Just go. You don't socialize enough. See too many investors and you'll become a psycho." "You're the psycho." "So are you going, or not?" "I'll go." After arriving, I realized Lin Nianchu and Zhou Ziyuan were in the room too. The lighting was dim. The speakers were blasting some pop song I didn't recognize. The coffee table was covered in beer and fruit platters. I found a spot in the corner, grabbed a bottled mineral water. Zhao Kuo sat next to me, already starting on his second beer. The speed he drinks is exactly like how he works. Starts off slow and steady, then goes absolutely berserk near the end. About 40 minutes into the meetup, after a few rounds of drink, Liu Yang was drunk, face flushed red to his neck, hugging the mic, belting out an off-key rendition of Friends. Halfway through, he suddenly dropped the mic, waved his hand wildly. Come on, no more singing. Let's talk. He walked to the middle of the tables holding his glass. Looked at Lin Nianchu, then looked at me, flashing that I'm about to start some drama smile. Hey, Nianchu and Song Si, what is the deal with you two anyway? Why don't we get everything out in the open today? The room fell silent for a moment. Liu Yang, Lin Nianchu, opened her mouth to stop him. Nah. It's been 3 years. When you two were together back then, we all shipped it. Now you're back, and Song Si is rich. It's a match made in heaven. He's drunk. Zhao Kuo whispered in my ear. I know. You want me to drag him out? No. Let him speak. Liu Yang was still passionately ranting. When Nianchu left back then, we all felt so bad about it. But, speaking of which, he suddenly turned to Zhao Zaiwan. Zaiwan, back then didn't you tell Nianchu that song C wasn't mature and stable enough? The temperature in the room dropped 3 degrees. Zhao Zaiwan's hand holding his glass stiffened. I was just saying whatever. Another classmate, Hicheo, chimed in. He usually didn't talk much. No idea how many bottles he'd had today. But the floodgates were open. It wasn't just whatever, right? At the time, didn't you tell a bunch of people that song C was out? He let out a burp. What was the word? Having an affair with some other? Zhao Zaiwan sharply raised his voice. Kao. But it was too late. Kiao waved his hand dismissively. Let me think. Right. You told Nianchu that song C was messing around with a coworker behind her back. It was all over the group chats back then. Nianchu suddenly left not long after. He didn't finish. Because he finally realized the vibe was completely off. Lin Nianchu's face went through 4 phases in 2 seconds. Confusion, recollection, shock, ashen, Zaiwan. She turned to Zhou Zaiwan. Her voice sounded like it was squeezed through gritted teeth. What did you say? Zhou Zaiwan put his glass down on the table, his fingers leaving a ring of sweat on the glass. Nianchu, that's all in the past. She pushed. You told me Song C was messing around with a coworker. I heard it from someone else back then? Lin Nianchu refused to let it go. Who said it? I forgot. Zhao Zaiwan's voice got quieter and quieter. You forgot? The room went completely dead silent. Even the KTV machine automatically skipped to the next song right then. In the air, all you could hear was the faint sound of beer bubbles popping. I sat in the corner and took a sip of water. Beside me, Zhao Kuo slowly pulled out his phone, turned the screen brightness all the way down, and hit record. I nudged him with my elbow. He adjusted the angle of his phone and kept recording. Song Sis. Lin Nianchu suddenly turned to me. Is what he said true? Is what true? He said you messed around with a coworker. Never happened. I just replied with those 2 words. After saying that, I picked up my water and took another sip. Lin Nianchu's eyes went red. This time, it was a different kind of red. It wasn't grievance toward me. It was anger at herself. She turned back to look at Zhou Zaiwan. Zhou Zaiwan had already stood up, clenching and unclenching his fists at his sides, over and over again. Nianchu, listen to me. I can explain. Lin Nianchu's voice was ice cold. What is there left to explain? I was doing it for your own good back then. Song C back then really was. I suddenly spoke up and cut him off. Really was what? The entire room's attention shifted to me. I put down my water bottle, leaned forward a bit. Zhao Zaiwan. 3 years ago, I was indeed a corporate drone making $100 a month. That's a fact. You'd need to make up stories to prove it. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. But you telling Nianchu I was messing around with a coworker. That part was totally made up. I stared straight into his eyes. You know how I know it was made up. Zhou Zaiwan was left utterly speechless, his face changing colors rapidly. Because I barely even had any coworkers back then. There were 5 people on my team. 3 older uncles and an auntie. Who exactly do you think I was messing around with? Zhao Kuo let out an extremely stifled PFD. In the room, 4 or 5 people simultaneously looked away, their lips twitching. Zhou Zaiwan's face turned the color of raw liver. You don't need to rush to explain. I leaned back on the sofa. It's been 3 years. I don't care. I really don't care. I turned to look at Lin Nianchu. Do you care? She didn't answer me. She stood up, grabbed her bag from the table, pushed open the door of the private room, and walked out. The door slammed shut behind her. Zhao Zaiwan stood there, looking like someone just slapped him across the face, but hadn't yet processed which cheek to rub. Drop agree in the comments if you love that comeback. Zhao Kuo quietly slipped his phone back into his pocket. Roshi, he whispered in my ear. Yeah, that line about 3 older uncles and an auntie. Can I get your permission to turn that into a meme? I deadpanned 2 words, KPI deduction. Zhao Kuo looked entirely unfazed. Worth it. 3 days after the meetup, Zhou Ziyuan posted a massive essay on Weibo. The title was very aggressive, exposing the true face of Xiwan Tech's Song CS. The content was even more aggressive. A sprawling 2-0 words. He started by attacking my character, then claimed my company faked its data, deceived investors, and relied on nepotism for funding. At the end, it escalated into pure personal attacks, claiming that someone like me didn't deserve to be a role model for entrepreneurs. The whole thing had zero hard evidence, pure speculation, with overly dramatic phrasing and chaotic logic. It was a textbook example of angry venting literature. Zhao Kuo pinged me in the company group chat. Bro C, did you see this? I saw it. How do we handle it? Zhao Kuo was already making calls. I notified legal and the PR team. Wait, I cut him off. Wait for what? Look at the comments. I opened the comments section. The top comment was from a random netizen. They wrote, "So who exactly are you? What's your relationship with Xiwan Tech?" Read the whole thing. All I gathered is that you're really mad, but I have no idea why you even have the right to be mad. The second top comment, just clicked into your profile. Aren't you the guy who posted a moment saying you were discussing a collab with Song Si Shi? So the deal fell through, and now you're trying to cancel him. Third comment, bro, the biggest issue with your post is Xiwan Tech stock just went up 3% today. You basically just gave them free advertising. Zhao Kuo looked at the comments, laughing so hard, he hiccuped. Bro C, the power of the internet is boundless. Just have legal send him a cease and desist. Don't make it too formal. What do you mean, not too formal? Keep the tone somewhat friendly. Tell him if he doesn't delete the post, we will pursue legal action. Don't scare him. With his current financial situation, he probably can't afford to pay damages. Zhao Kuo's typing hands paused. Bro C, are you protecting him? Not protecting. It's just unnecessary. Someone with absolutely zero social influence, posting a thread with zero evidence. If you take it seriously, you lose. The lawyer's letter went out that afternoon. By evening, the Weibo post was deleted. But Zhou Ziyuan didn't stop. The next day, Zhao Kuo handed me a screenshot. Zhou Ziyuan sent a message in an industry networking group, saying that Xiwan Tech's core technology was stolen. Said he had internal proof. The group admin asked him for the evidence. He gave a vague guarantee, saying, I'll release the internal evidence in a couple of days. Zhao Kuo's face twisted up like a pretzel. Does he have it? He says he does. He's gambling on an information gap. He doesn't need to actually have evidence. He just needs to make people think he might have it. That's enough. If anyone believes him and proactively comes to him to verify it, he can use that to connect with more people in the industry. Zhao Kuo's expression changed from anger to a complicated kind of admiration. Bro C, your analysis. Does he really have that kind of brain? He doesn't have the brains, but he has a survival instinct. A man backed into a corner will use any dirty trick he can think of. Then, what do we do? Have the marketing team post the technical report that passed the audit last month publicly on the official website. Just that? Is it enough? Lies aren't afraid of debunking rumors. They're afraid of the truth. Put the audit report out there. Whoever believed him will go read the report. Once they read it, they'll know he's full of crap. The technical report went up on the official website the next day. No one in the group asked Zhou Ziyuan for evidence anymore, because everyone could see. A guy who doesn't even know what an MVP is, claiming Xiwan Tech stole its tech. His credibility is roughly zero. But I know he won't stop. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the epic finale. Once this kind of person starts sliding downhill, they can't hit the brakes. Every time he strikes out, it'll be sharper, more desperate, more reckless. Not because he's evil, but because he's panicking. 3 years ago, he held a suitcase, thinking he had won a woman's trust, won a rival's exit. 3 years later, that rival is standing somewhere he can't even reach. And that woman doesn't even want to touch his shoulder anymore. That kind of defeat is crueler than anything. Late that night, I was working overtime at the company. My phone suddenly lit up with a WeChat message from a recently added friend. Su Yi, have you eaten? I looked at the half-eaten takeout on my desk. I ate. You? Just got out of surgery. Had a patient with a horizontally impacted wisdom tooth. Took 40 minutes to extract. Hard work. You too. 11 p.m., and you're still at the company. I'm used to it. Are you free tomorrow for lunch? There's a new noodle shop that opened next to the hospital. It's pretty good. I stared at the message. My finger hovered over the screen for 3 seconds. Then typed 2 words. I'm free. After sending it, I turned off my phone and continued revising the proposal. The city lights blinked outside the window. The CBD skyline looked like a row of jagged teeth. I thought about what Su-yi said. Had a patient with a horizontally impacted wisdom tooth. The corners of my mouth subconsciously curled up. Is this catching feelings? No. It just feels nice. Having someone ask if you've eaten late at night, without any ulterior motives, without any calculations, just a simple, have you eaten? It feels really nice. A month later, see you on Tech's annual tech conference. 1 p.m. at the China World Trade Center Banquet Hall. Over 30 media outlets present. Over 200 industry guests. This was the largest public event since the company was founded. I stood backstage, adjusting my tie in the mirror. Zhao Kuo was standing next to me holding a stack of cue cards, muttering as he helped me rehearse. That data point in the 3rd paragraph changed. Remember, Dao went from 8 million to 12 million. Got it? 2 more partners were added to the list in paragraph 7. I instructed, send it to my phone. I'll glance at it before I go on. Got it? Zhao Kuo put the cue cards away, hesitated for a second. Bro Shi, one more thing. They said Zhao Zeyuan sneaked in. My hand tying my tie didn't stop. How did he get in? Don't know. Probably used someone else's invitation. Security spotted him in the guest area, asking if they should escort him out. No need. Let him stay. Zhao Kuo looked at me. Are you sure? I'm sure. He'll. What if he? My tone was certain. He will definitely pull something. If he didn't, he wouldn't be Zhao Zeyuan. Then you aren't worried. I pushed my tie knot all the way up, patted Zhao Kuo on the shoulder. I haven't touched him this whole month. Why do you think that is? Zhao Kuo blinked. Because you're waiting for him. Him making a mistake himself is better than him making a mistake. I pulled open the backstage door. I'm waiting for him to pick the biggest stage possible to make his mistake. Zhao Kuo sucked in a breath of cold air. The conference had been going for 40 minutes. Product showcase was over. Tech demo went smoothly. Media reaction was positive. The final segment, Q&A. The host turned on the mic. Distinguished guests and friends from the media, we will now enter the open Q&A session. The first 3 questions were all for media reporters, about our technology roadmap, market pricing, future plans. I answered them one by one, without any surprises. For the 4th question, a hand shot up. In the back row of the guest area, a guy in a gray suit with messy hair stood up. Zhao Zeyuan. The host looked at where he was standing. There was no seat marker matching the invitation list. He hesitated. This gentleman, Zhao Zeyuan's voice, was right at the edge of the microphone's range. But the acoustic design of the banquet hall made sure everyone heard him. I have a question for CEO Song. The entire room quieted down. I stood on the stage, meeting his gaze calmly. Please go ahead. He took a deep breath, puffed out his chest. 3 years ago, you were still a corporate wage slave, making $100 a month. Your fiancée was so disappointed in you that she chose to move abroad. 3 years later, you're suddenly the CEO of a tech company. CEO Song, can you tell everyone here exactly where the seed capital for this company came from? Your tech team. Is it involved in any intellectual property disputes? Your capital backing. He fired off 5 questions in one breath, every single one of them barbed with accusations. People in the audience started whispering to each other. In the shadows of the side stage, Zhao Kuo clenched his fists. Face flushed bright red. His lips were moving. I'm guessing he was cursing him out. I didn't interrupt Zhao Zeyuan. I waited until he finished, walked to the very front of the podium, leaned a bit closer to the mic. This gentleman has raised some excellent questions. I will answer them one by one. First, seed capital. My initial seed capital was 300 RMB. It came from my annual bonus. my savings and 100 RMB borrowed from Zhao Kuo. All of this is documented in bank statements. Our series, A Due Diligence Report, is available for download on our official website. Second, intellectual property. Our core technical team established comprehensive IP archives from day one. All patents are original, and their application numbers are public. The audit report was made public last month. Third, capital backing. Our list of investors has been fully disclosed in every single funding announcement. Nothing is hidden. I paused. Those 3 questions have been answered, but this gentleman also brought up a personal matter just now, and I'd like to take this opportunity to address that as well. The audience went completely silent. This gentleman is right. 3 years ago, I really was just a corporate drone making $100 a month, and my fiancée really did choose to move abroad. I looked in Zhao Zhewan's direction. Before she left, she gave me an agreement, asking me to wait for her for 3 years, and the person helping her carry her luggage back then was none other than this gentleman right here. The entire room's gaze shifted from me to Zhao Zhewan. Zhao Zhewan's face turned paler and paler under the lights. The day she left, this gentleman told her I wasn't mature and stable enough, that I wasn't someone she could depend on. Soft gasps rippled through the banquet hall. So for me to be standing here today, I really ought to thank him. I gave Zhao Zhewan a slight nod. Thank you, Zhao Zhewan. If you hadn't said those things 3 years ago, if she hadn't left, I might really still be that corporate drone making $100 a month. Not because I lacked the ability, but because I was a simp. Being a simp makes you settle for the status quo, makes you think love is enough. You help cure me of that disease? The audience erupted into laughter and applause. Zhao Zhewan stood in the back row of the guest area, looking like he'd been nailed to the floor. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His expression went through 4 stages. First, shock. Then, denial. His lips moved soundlessly, as if saying, "That's not how it was." Then came a sort of agonizing realization. And finally, total collapse. His entire aura was like a building with its load-bearing walls ripped out, collapsing from the inside out. His eyes scanned the entire room, looking for a single sympathetic face. He didn't find one. Out of over 200 people, over 200 pairs of eyes were either looking at me or looking at him. But the eyes looking at him held 0 sympathy. There was curiosity, disdain, and people absolutely loving the drama, but absolutely no sympathy. His knees buckled slightly. He caught himself, turned, and walked toward the exit. No one stopped him. Zhao Kuo poked his head out from the wings, his phone screen glowing brightly. He recorded the whole thing. I shot him a look. He gave me a thumbs up and mouthed, "Badass." I ignored him, turning back to the reporters and guests. Apologies for taking up some of your time with a personal matter. The Q&A session will now resume. Any more questions? Someone in the audience started clapping. The applause spread, getting louder and louder, until it turned into a standing ovation, not for my product, but for the line, "Thank you for curing my simp disease." Hit that like button if you love that comeback. After the conference ended, I ran into Lin Nianshu backstage. She was standing by the emergency exit, arms crossed, eyes red like she'd been crying her eyes out. I stopped and asked, "Why are you here?" I watched the whole thing from the back of the audience. I gave a flat, "Oh, Song Si." Her voice was shaking. "I didn't know. Zhao Zhewan said those things." "I know. You didn't know. He told me you were messing around with a coworker. At the time, I know I shouldn't have believed him." "You believed him then. Which proves you never trusted me enough to begin with it." She swayed on her feet. Her shoulder leaned against the wall. "Do you hate me?" "I don't. I really don't." "Then, why do you still?" I cut her off. "Nianshu, 3 years ago at the airport, you asked me to wait for you. I never agreed to it. Do you remember?" Her eyes went blank for a second. "You said okay." She defended herself desperately. "I said, okay, but I never signed that agreement. Did you notice that?" She froze. "Yes. 3 years ago, that A4 paper only had her signature on it. I never signed it, from beginning to end. Standing at the airport, watching you walk through security, I already knew in my heart you chose him. You didn't choose London." Her tears finally fell. Massive drops. smashing against the cold concrete floor of the emergency exit. She didn't wipe them away. These past 3 years. She choked out. You had a hard time these past 3 years. I know, I said calmly, but that's not my problem. And it's not solely your problem either. You chose to trust the wrong person. And then you paid the price for that choice. Now, you're back. And the price has been paid. Just move forward. She stood there and cried for a long time. I didn't leave, nor did I get closer. I just stood 3 meters away waiting for her to finish crying. Finally, she wiped her face with the back of her hand, took a deep breath. Song C. Yeah, you deserve to have a good life. I smiled slightly. Thanks. She turned, pushed open the fire escape door, and walked out. The door slowly closed behind her. The sound of metal clashing echoed in the empty hallway for a few seconds. Zhao Kuo popped out from God knows which corner, nose all red, still clutching his phone in his hand. Bro, see, eavesdropping again. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was standing nearby, listening out in the open. Is there a difference? Eavesdropping is hiding. I was standing up. Listening while standing is a sign of respect. I snapped at him. Get the hell out of here, bro, see, yahoo. That line, you deserve to have a good life. He sniffled. Yeah, it was pretty good. Let's go. Show's over. Spring is here. The March wind in Beijing still had a bite to it, but the sunlight was starting to feel warm. Siwan Tech moved to a new office space. We moved from the CBD office building to a standalone tech park in Zhongguancun. The new spot has 5 floors and even comes with a small rooftop garden. Zhao Kuo insisted on setting up a BBQ grill on the roof. For a team building, he argued righteously. In reality, he just wanted to eat skewers. Team building is part of the job. I didn't argue with him. The tech director, who's been with us for 2 years, came to get my signature and casually dropped some gossip. CEO Song heard that Ms. Lin, from before, went to Shenzhen. Yeah, by herself. By herself. Got a job at a foreign trade company. What about that, Mr. Zhao? You know, I really didn't know. After the press conference, Zhao Ziyuan practically evaporated from this city. His WeChat moments stopped updating. His phone number became a disconnected line. Some said he went back to his hometown. Some said he went down south. I never asked around. If a person spends all their energy plotting against others, then when those plots fail, he'll find he has absolutely nothing left. No career, no friends, no path to turn back to. I don't need to lift a finger for this kind of ending. Time will take care of everything for me. At noon I went to that noodles shop Sui mentioned. My 3rd time there. She was sitting by the window. 2 bowls of beef noodles in front of her. The chopsticks were already unwrapped. You're 4 minutes late. Traffic. You said traffic last time too. It's Beijing. What can I say? She pushed a bowl of noodles toward me. The broth was still steaming. The beef was cut thick. A layer of chili oil and chopped scallions floating on top. Try it. I grabbed a bite with my chopsticks, blew on a tay, and put it in my mouth. Delicious. Better than the takeout you eat every day, right? Definitely. She looked very focused eating her noodles. Lips pressed tight. Chopsticks holding steady wet. Occasionally taking a sip with the spoon. After drinking the broth, a little chili oil stuck to the corner of her mouth. She didn't realize it, but I saw it. You've got some. I reminded her. She looked up. I reached out and wiped off that spot of chili oil with my thumb. Right after I did that, we both froze for a second. The tips of her ears changed color. I pulled my hand back, pretended nothing happened. It's really good. She stammered a bit. You just wiped chili oil. You had chili oil on the corner of your mouth. Oh. She lowered her head and went back to eating, but her chopsticks clearly grabbed air twice. I also looked down and ate my noodles. My heart was beating a bit faster than before. Not much, but enough for me to notice. After we finished eating and came out, the sun was perfect. The ginkgo trees at the hospital entrance hadn't sprouted yet. Bare branches, reaching up into the sky, like open hands. I've got a major surgery scheduled this afternoon. Might be busy for a while. She stood on the hospital steps, looking up at me. Then I'll wait until you're done to ask you out again. She paused. Songsi, yeah. When you say the word wait, your expression is very natural. What do you mean? Nothing. Just feel like you probably weren't like this before. I thought about it. I definitely wasn't before. And now, the word wait just means wait to me. It's not a promise. It's not a gamble. And it's definitely not an agreement that requires a signature. She smiled. All right then. You just wait. Okay. She turned and ran up the steps, the hem of her white coat blowing in the wind, revealing a pair of white sneakers underneath. The shoelaces weren't tied tight, bobbing around as she ran. When she reached the door, she looked back at me. Don't be late next time. If you're late next time, you're paying. Deal. She pushed the door open and went in it. I stood in place, the sunlight hitting my face. Nice and warm. My phone rang. A cloud message from Zhao Kuo. Bro she. Rooftop grill is set up. We grilling tonight or what? I replied with one word. Grill. On the way to the parking lot, I passed by a bus stop sign. Next to the stop was a billboard. It featured Shiwan Tex, Nueti. A product shot took up most of the space. In the bottom right corner was a line of small text, making connections smarter. I took one look and kept walking. That winter 3 years ago, I was at Beijing Capital Airport, Terminal 3, folded an A4 paper into a paper airplane. The paper airplane didn't fly out. It hit the floor-to-ceiling window, dropped to the floor and was tossed into the trash by a janitor. But I flew out.